Welcome back, episode 2, the Brando show. I know it says Brand from Connecticut, but I'm not in Connecticut. The Cape, I'm in Mixed Hood right now. I have a very special guest this evening. It's been a little bit critical of the producers and the show in general. It's Mr. Salt Life. It's Mr. Salt Life himself, Jack Cullinane.
Wow. What an honor.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Brando show. It's been a quiet couple of days, so I don't think we're going to have much to talk about today, which is good. That's kind of where it's at. Just some of the stuff from the last few days. The Magic stream didn't go as planned. Thought I was prepared. Got freight trained by Mike Geary. Kind of what happened with that, and I figured out in this world that I'm kind of a vulnerable, genuine person. It seems like that can get you like beat down, or that can get you attacked by certain people, and it's just worn on me in the last few days. So I've been trying to stay positive. It's been a good, 24 hours or so. We got Kirk back, which is awesome. I miss him very much. But with that being said, we got a very special guest today. He's a part of the Kirk Minahan show. He's been with the show 3 different times at this point, but he's a fan favorite, Dave Cullinane.
Brando, you're way too hard on yourself, Brando. You gotta just ignore the noise and do your thing. All right. And by the way, the intro music to this program is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So if you're teasing that this could be the last, it better not be, and you better pass on that intro music to somebody else if it is, because it's perfection.
That's a shout out to John from Scranton. I've loved that intro from the very start. It's very funny. I enjoy it. The chunk with me on my Coleman episode where I just couldn't talk for some odd reason. I just couldn't get the
right.
So Mr. Salt Life himself, and I just kept tripping over myself. So I love that he put that in there, and I think it's one of the better intros out there. So shout out for John from Scranton. He does a lot of work. It's a thankless job. He doesn't make any money, and he puts in a lot of work.
Right.
Sometimes he leaves you hanging with a blind guy. When your mic's not working or your laptop's not working, but.
Yep.
That's neither here nor there,
That's all right.
So,
That's all right.
First things first with you in here, I just wanted to address the Magic stream with Mike and kind of get your thoughts on the whole thing. What were your thoughts about what transpired Monday night?
You came off looking really bad because Mike knows he has watched every second of this. Mike loves this stuff. So you just came off in a poor light because of that. But those types of things, there's been so much to watch, and sometimes it's boring, and you're just kind of just sitting there. It's tough. I can see how you can kind of be watching this and then kind of fade away from it a little bit. So I'll defend you in that respect, where when I have Clemmer on with that stuff, it's kind of like background noise a little bit. No disrespect, man. It's just I put it on as I'm doing something else. So I understand where you're coming from, and probably maybe a little too gung-ho to keep producing content and try something new. And if you were going to, you probably should have been more focused on the content than you were going to speak about. You know what I mean? It can't be background noise in that sense. So, but I don't know if the criticism, I don't know if you needed that much criticism for that. The best part of it at the end of the day was really seeing Mike at that element and how serious he was. So I don't know if you deserve as much criticism as you got, but I wouldn't take it too seriously.
Well, I think the criticism is definitely warranted. I had the technical issues, which, you may say is an excuse, but it flustered me, most of the time. I spent half the time trying to get the laptop to charge and get my mic to work, and I'm just floundering, and Mike is just ranting.
Well, the
He's
worst
got
part of
all
that stuff, it's almost like to a T all the time. Is like Mike went on this unbelievable rant at that
yeah,
exact moment that you're first technical. Like he was winding down at that exact moment that you're technical. So you just kind of left him like specifically right at that time out to dry, which that was tough. And then Mike's got to kind of like bullshit banter because he doesn't know if you're just going to reconnect right away. That was tough.
yeah.
That shit happens. That happens with the StreamYard stuff.
And I didn't see the first. I saw bits and pieces, let me say, of the first season. So his first week of the Magic stream when he was still tanking, I had only heard about it. I
Yep.
hadn't watched any. But since then, I've watched all every part of every episode. So it's not like I didn't watch it. I just threw it together. I just wasn't as intense as Mike. I was
Yeah.
thinking I was going to come on. We were going to talk about some of the Magic stuff, but maybe we poke fun at Clemmer a little bit. We break down the stream itself, kind of like a KMS episode where you're breaking down this person's performance, and Mike
Yep.
was in a persona of a real 1993 Orlando Magic
Yes.
fan.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody could have predicted that. You can say what you want, but
Yeah.
I was so flabbergasted at his tenacity, and I was taken aback, and I was just trying to roll with the punches as best
Yeah.
I could. And I agree with you that I kind of just went in there willy-nilly, which I guess was my biggest mistake, but it was an idea that came to me during third shift, 5 in the
Well,
morning.
yeah,
I'm
wait a
like,
minute.
oh, it might be a...
Wait just a
I
minute.
never saw the David from Maryland thing.
Just
Let
a
me just
minute.
say that.
Let's ask the
Never
question.
saw it.
There are accusations out there that by people that run this network that you are on right now that
Yep.
you stole the concept. It was
Yep.
inside a chat. First of all, is that accurate? Is people, whether people watching or anyone else, was it actually in a chat before then you pitched the show? The
I
concept?
think it looks like, judging by the clip from David in Maryland, he sent it during Clemmer's stream.
Yep.
It wasn't anything sent directly to me, but I guess it was something in Clemmer's stream.
Okay. All right. And so you're saying you saw none of that. It just came to you when you were working and you put it out. Okay.
I don't think it's an original idea. It's breaking down of a podcast. His idea was kind of original, actually, though, because he was thinking the Mike thing of you're a radio show in 1993. My idea wasn't even that exactly. It was more of a tongue-in-cheek messing around,
Right.
make fun of Clemmer, talk about some stuff about the Magic, and Mike was just in it. I've never seen anyone more into something than Mike Geary was into the Magic stream.
Right. That's
He's
perfect.
more
Mike.
into the Orlando Magic than KMS. Or at least it took the place of it. It might have taken the place of it during the...
I've watched some of it, but it hasn't, and maybe it's because the first time was like shocking, the Mariners thing a couple years ago. And something about like that one just hit every single time he did it. He just said something like, whether it be the "oh doctor" stuff or something happened every single time. Or this one just for some reason hasn't hit as much with me personally. That's not a knock. I know a lot of people like it. I just mean that first time was just so great. So I can understand why he wants to try to, hit the Magic again, so to say, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I can understand it conceptually, but the first time was just so great. But
For sure. It's a fun stream, and I just don't take it as serious as Mike does, I guess. And I don't think anybody does. But that, I guess, was my mistake. And maybe not having a meeting or much of a chat with Mike before we kind of just jump right into it.
right.
We were just on different pages, and then with the technical issues, it just, snowballed from there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but either way, I mean, it's a good thing. I actually don't. I know you've kind of taken some shit the last couple of days, and I don't want to throw off your rhythm here or whatever you want to talk about, but you've taken shit almost like because you tried that. That's a new thing. You're doing this arm waving thing. I don't know. I kind of think like that's a good thing. Like the crew of people that are on the network are trying different things as they go. They have their mainstays, but then every now and then, if they want to try a different style of show, I don't necessarily think that's like totally arm waving. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't understand the whole arm waving thing. Is arm waving when you're trying to interact with the show and you're trying to do a network show and is
Arm
any
waving-
attention like
Arm waving,
arm
like,
waving?
You were arm waving trying to get into the studio. But
Way
you
back
were
before I even had my show, I think
Right.
that's when I was like messaging you and Justin incessantly, and I was
But
like,
you were also very public about it too at the same time. So it was an all-encompassing arm wave by Brando.
right.
I wouldn't say like, oh, because I like producing content, And first of all, it's a break where, Kirk's not in studio 3 times a week giving, close to 3-hour shows or things like that. Trying something as somebody who wants to donate their time to just try it, I don't see that as arm waving personally. So I don't necessarily identify with it. And I don't necessarily know if that was something like with Robbie V's video. Was he specifically referencing things like that? I don't know, but I don't think so.
I think Robbie was more. He might have been going at me, but I think he was upset with Menners, which a lot of people have been lately, and kind of Menners' style has gotten to some people and the way that he is. I've come to the conclusion just at this point, he's my CEO, at least for now. I think he's just a bad person. I think he's just a bad person that attacks people because he's not confident in himself and he takes it out on other people. That's the conclusion that I've come to. It might be a character that he's playing. If it's a character, he's playing a good character, but
Menners
in my opinion, I have just no use for him anymore, and he's just been kind of brutal. So
we've had our ups and downs through the years, Menners and I, but I would never get to the point where I'd say I think he's a bad person. So, if you've reached that point, that stinks, because I think he's a guy who can work through it. I actually thought with some of the stuff with you, whether you want to talk about it or not, I don't know, but he handled that, I thought, in a positive, respectful way. That other, if you were going to ask me how would Menners handle that situation, I thought he would stir a little bit more shit. I'm not saying it's bad or good or whatever, either way, but I thought he handled it as somebody who was looking out for you versus somebody who just wanted to, make people laugh on a show that he does. I thought that
right. Well, what is your opinion of what part are you talking about? Like, you're looking out for me. Like, when I was done Jake's show, and he was kind of telling me like, oh, just dial it back or different things like that.
And how certain people who are engaging with you, you think they're overstepping their boundaries, and he's saying they're just fucking around. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Whatever you think is fine. Like, your opinions of it is fine. I think Justin and I talked about that on a producer show. All good. I just mean from Menners handling that situation, I thought he came off like a friend to you versus somebody who hosts a show that is typically known to stir shit on purpose for fun, like with good reason. Like, everyone's just having a good time. But in that specific situation, I thought he was coming off like a friend to you, and I didn't think it came off bad. Whether or not you agree with that in the sense of, because you have your own personal feelings on the situation specifically, but I think a lot of people watching that were probably shocked that Menners took that approach versus maybe a previous approach he would have taken for fun.
Right, and maybe it's just I'm not fully familiar with Menners' character. I've watched network stuff here and there, but if I'm honest, I didn't watch a ton of stuff other than like maybe Mike and the Minifans and a thing here and there until I was on. So maybe I didn't understand that this is pretty much him. He's a knockoff, 5 foot tall Australian Kirk with a lot less talent. But maybe that's where I misstepped. But especially the stuff on MNS last night, to me, is not messing around. It's not anything. It's just It's just attacking people. It's just attacking to be a jerk. And after he says all this nasty shit, he says, I'm just messing with you, Brando. I'm just messing. So I think the line just gets blurred to me, and I've just been very candid with everyone.
Yeah.
I've been very open with a lot of my stuff, and I don't know if that's why I've got burned by certain things, but that's just kind of where I'm at with the whole situation.
So for you and your future on the network, where does this all leave you right now?
I'm just leaving it up in the air right now. Maybe there'll be another Brando show after this. I don't know. I think I'm going to take the weekend to kind of reassess, stay low key. I definitely think I can dial it back. Maybe I went too far with trying to be on too many things or be too much in the limelight.
If you continue, what would affect you? Like, what would make you change your mind? Do you think? Because it doesn't seem like trolls aren't like relentlessly going at you, right? Like, it's not nonstop.
No, I don't even really blame a lot of the trolls. I blame the guy that runs the network that creates a narrative that breaks people down, like he kind of did to Freddie Lynn. He kind of took him and broke him down and drove him off. One of the best shows ever to be on the network. So to me, that's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at with him. I just have at this point, I have no use for him.
Right.
I might still be on the network. I might not, but that's just where I'm at. I'm kind of just done with the guy.
this is interesting to hear either way, because Menners was always a person that preached, managerial skills and helping train people along. He used to say that people went to the Menners school of, like, whatever he worded it, professionalism or something like that. He got people were under his
Right.
wing. So this is to know that, you were a kind of part of that. You were a Menners guy this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You produced a show for him. You showed up every time you were needed. You showed up more than that for different shows. This is a leadership issue right now. And it'd be nice if, whether publicly or behind the scenes, he stepped up and showed you that he's not the person that you're claiming he is right now. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. At this point, I just don't know where I'm gonna go from here. I love doing the Brando show, so I'd love to just keep doing my show,
Yep.
keep chugging along. But I just have to reassess for a few days maybe, and come back with a clear mind early next week, and maybe it'll be back.
Yep.
But I just need Kirk back. This whole break is just, after yesterday, it shows you how much we really need him. A lot of the infighting starts happening when he's gone, and people going after other people, which can be entertaining. Like, don't get me wrong, like, all that stuff can be fun and entertaining, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just the glimpse we got yesterday, it was like, oh man, this is why we tune in.
I've always said it too. Like, there's no show like it. It's one of one. The idea that he's on a break, and I can understand just knowing him enough. With the show perspective, you as a fan know this enough. If he announces a break, he could still show up and do something at any time. We know that about him. But to show up, air grievances out with the producers as the main kind of like impetus of being there, but then also at the same exact time, 30 minutes, 20 minutes later, calling Dan Shaughnessy to, get an answer as to why he said something like that just would never, ever occur anywhere else. It's just, there's no example where that would happen on any other show. I would have thought he would have come in and, rip Justin and I for, whatever he was planning to, and then he would have left because that's what he planned to do. No, he stays there. He talks about all the talking points. Mutt literally said, I really miss Kirk. I wish I could hear what his take was on Val Kilmer today. He stays and he gives his take on Val Kilmer. He stays, does it, like I said, the Dan Shaughnessy thing. So it's, it's unique. Let's put it that way. And that's where I agree with you. We're lucky to all kind of be a part of it in this way, because we're not getting it. We're never going to find it anywhere else. It's not happening.
For sure. That's what it's all about. We're all here because of Kirk at the end of the day. So I just miss him, and I just want to see him back. Yesterday was awesome. I mean, you get everything. You get a little bit of the Shaughnessy, like, old school radio beefs.
Yep.
Kind of. You get him just absolutely just like obliterating Justin, going after you a little bit. Yep. It was like a reminder of, like, it felt like 2020, 2021, 2019. With, like, how uncomfortable it must have seemed in that studio when Kirk is just berating Justin and just breaking him down. And Justin has this look on his face for more than half the show of just like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
It felt like old school Kirk in that moment.
And it's raw.
Me.
It's raw, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like, I feel like if you were listening to, I don't know, name any radio show in the country, they're probably talking about their grievances before they get to the studio. And then they're having the grievance out on the air when they've already really done it behind the scenes. In this situation, it's raw, it's authentic. Yep. Even take like how I then would handle, like how I handle Kirk going at Justin, or how Justin handles Kirk going at me. It's just a unique thing. You don't get to in too many places.
For sure. So, after all that being said, I kind of wanted to get a couple of those things out there. I apologize to Mike if he felt like I sandbagged him on the show. That wasn't my intention. I love Mike. And I just wanted to kind of tell everyone where I'm at with Menners. And, I mean, you can disagree with me. You can say you like him, you like his bit. But for me, I'm just at a point where I'm kind of done with the situation. So
yeah. How much is weighing on you? So here you are contemplating leaving the network, but it's during a situation where you finally got in studio after all this time that you wanted to get in studio. You had an appearance that was borderline universally loved, right? So now all of a sudden you're considering leaving the network. Are you nervous that then impacts your standing with Kirk and the main show and potentially coming back in? Additional question, let's say you do choose to leave the network. Are you expecting then at that same time to continue to get invites to come in studio? What's your thought process there?
I don't know if I've gone super deep into it. I would always love to come back in. I think I didn't even think I did all that great in that first episode, but I had so many people reach out, which I greatly appreciate, and say, hey, great job, great first episode. Then I go to Laconia that weekend, and it was like 15, 20, 30 people. Hey, great job on the show, Brando. Great job. It was fresh in everyone's mind, so there's a little bit of recency bias there of like, oh, it was so great. It was only a few days before. Laconia is awesome. I meet all the other Minifans that I've been kind of interacting with. And, I was just riding crazy high. And then when Kirk announced that the break, you heard the phone call at me. I just waking up. It sounded like I was about to cry. Like, no, don't do this to me.
That was raw pain right there that I heard in that phone.
It was real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what the future holds. I'd love to still be a part of the show itself.
Yep.
I don't know if Kirk considers it like you need to have a network show. You need to keep your name out there to be a part of the show. Or you have to have a presence on Twitter. I'd be interested to know what he thinks about that.
Yep. Yeah,
I'd love to be a part of the show, too.
Are you contemplating everything? Like, let's say you leave the network. Are you also contemplating communicating about the show whether on social media, on Twitter specifically, I guess?
Yeah, maybe, but I'll never stop watching the show no matter what. But I just am reconsidering some of the social media or network stuff, maybe. I mean, my goal, though, at this point, I'd like to keep doing the Brando show. I just don't want to promise anything, and I'm just leaving it open for right now.
So besides Kirk, because Kirk hasn't appeared on the Brando show, right?
No, famously, remember, I was criticized for asking you to ask him to maybe come on over the break because I thought he was doing...
I always take, it's you can send whatever DMs you want. Like, it sounded crazy to me, but, like, it's your life. Do what you want type of thing. You didn't end up doing it, though, it doesn't seem, right? Or did you?
Do what? DM Kirk?
Yeah, to ask him to go? I can't remember.
I don't think I can DM him. Does he have to follow you to be able to DM him on Twitter? I've looked before, and I don't think I can DM him.
Oh, okay.
I asked you to ask him.
Oh, you wanted me to ask? Oh, gotcha. I don't think it came off like that. I thought you were just kind of like, do you think he would want to come on the show? And I was
originally, I was like saying, do you think you would come over the break? And you're like, well, maybe you will, maybe you won't kind of deal.
Yeah, it wasn't my response. Like, it couldn't hurt to ask. But then my thought wasn't, oh, I have to go ask him on your behalf. I thought it came off like you were going to message him. So my bad. I guess I inadvertently saved you.
Yeah.
In that situation.
I didn't think it was crazy out of line either, because to me, it wasn't a mental health break. Like before, he's taking this time to get his mental health right. He was still doing 3 or 4 other things, whether it be the dozen, unnamed, and other stuff. But I mean, once I took a step back after looking at it, I was like, all right, maybe I don't have to have him on, and maybe I'm pushing the limits a little too much. But in the moment, I didn't think it was like super outrageous.
Yeah. Who's your next? Who's the next big guest you want to get? If it's not, let's just say you eventually get Kirk or whatever. Who's another guest that you need? You need Steve Robinson at some point.
I've messaged Steve once or twice. I think I DM'd him to ask him if he still listens, because I like for anyone who comes on to have listened.
Yep.
So because I break down all the different parts of different shows. So if you're not really watching, it's tough to break down the specific stuff.
Yep.
I'm like Blind Mike with KMS, like he is with the Orlando stream. I'm going super far into it. I'm trying to pick up on every detail.
That's fair.
Fair. I like to have people who still watch, so I sent him a DM, he didn't reply, but I've also thought about, I think, Kirk's brother, I think, would be a great get to see what his opinion on certain stuff is.
Yep.
Different ideas I've had, but nothing in particular right now.
Polar would be a good one. Greg Polar.
Yep.
Have you had, I don't think you've had Mutt. Mutt would be a good one.
Mutt, I think I've DM'd Mutt once or twice. Yep. I think when I had someone cancel, I said, hey, do you want to try to save the day and pop on the Brando show?
Yep.
But I think Mutt's another guy who just isn't a replier to DMs. I mean, he doesn't even text Kirk back within 3-4 days, so I don't think I'm getting a DM back.
Weird. Text is different. Like, it's weird to not, unless you didn't see it for some reason, life is chaotic, but to not respond to a text like that is weird. I can see DMs because you can choose not to go in there and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I don't know, that was weird that he didn't respond for so long to Kirk. It's crazy, but he's happy doing what he's doing. We don't need to rehash him anymore with that.
Yeah.
Like, he's clearly just happy with what he's doing, which is good. He's a great guy, and if he's happy with it, I'm happy for him.
Yeah. All right. So now that everything has been pretty much, talked about, I went back and I think pretty much we'll just go through all the producer shows. I'm not sure if we'll have much time for anything else. We've already kind of talked about a few other things anyway, but
Yep.
The last producer show I left off on will be the Montante show from March 26th, which I have my notebook today. I'm hoping to actually use it this time. So I do have it here, the famous notebook. It's got the notes in it from when I went in the studio, all in red when Kirk kept calling on me and I started panicking. And it's got the stuff from the Magic Stream. But
Very
tonight
nice.
I think I'm going to actually utilize it. So, on that show, I had a fun little thing happen. You called me about the basketball video about me shooting hoops at my work.
Yes.
I just thought it was really funny that you guys thought that might have been my house and that I was like secretly a rich guy.
Well,
what did you think about that?
When I saw it, I remembered that people in the comments were confused by it. So that was, I knew I wasn't crazy trying to figure out like where is he right now. Like I don't know that I've talked to you. I know you work overnights and stuff, but I didn't know. Excuse me. I didn't know specifically what you do for work until that moment. So I even if I did, I don't know if I would have thought there would have been some kind of recreational. It does make sense though, based on your description. It makes sense to have it, but I wouldn't have put, I don't think, 2 and 2 together. But obviously, if that was your house, but I gave it like a 50-50 shot, I guess, and I would have been overly impressed if that was your setup at your house.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
If that was my real house. I'm from the poor part of Connecticut. I'm not from the almost New York City rich part of Connecticut. I'm from like the friggin' farmland, Trump country, Connecticut.
Well, even if you're friggin' rich, I don't know if you could pull off a setup like that. Like that's even
very unique.
You have to have some high ceilings to pull off a real basketball hoop and a shot like that. So, but I was just confused. But that's where I'm very critical. Like I feel insanely uncomfortable hosting the producer show. It's just not. It's not something in my wheelhouse. Being a host, it's never. I didn't feel comfortable being a third chair on the show either. Like that when I wasn't working for the show. It's just I feel more comfortable with like devices and stuff.
You feel like there's a boundary kind of when you have like when you're doing the producing itself?
It's not a boundary. I don't know if it's like muscle memory or something. It just doesn't feel right. It's never something I've ever like done. I did it like I'll do it in live streams, but I was always solo. And the whole thing, all I ever did was work off the chat the entire time. So it wasn't like I was hosting a show and I had to remember topics like
play the hits.
Yeah. I was playing music and then just reading a chat and making fun of myself and reacting to people making fun of me. That went, I could do 2 hours doing that if the chat's active, but just that formulaic kind of like, here's the 10 things we want to hit. I just like don't feel comfortable introducing topics and all that. And I feel like Justin has recently kind of recognized that because he's been kind of helping me backtrack because it's just not like I'll say, oh, we got like Mick did this or Mike did this behind the scenes, and I don't describe what it actually was. And Justin is good at like behind the scenes saying, oh, hold on, back up, where this is what happened first before we start talking about. I don't know, my brain, I'm just moving like 100 miles an hour in my head for some stupid reason. I clearly have ADD, and it's just uncomfortable for me. So
it's a little bit different vibe for you. You're not really used to that. It's just none of it's easy. I mean, trying to do a show, trying to be a host, I don't think any of it's particularly easy. And people like Kirk or Blind Mike make it seem very simple to just be able to riff and be able to control a show, but it's not easy.
And I'm horrible with, and I think you probably hear it on Kirk's show too. Like if a topic comes up and I'm like, if I disagree or I'm angry, I'm yelling about it for like 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden Kirk convinces me the other way or whatever. And I do a 180 on my opinion of it. But it's literally 2 seconds on that topic. Me thinking that I can stretch a conversation about Menners talking about you on MNS last night into more than over 90 seconds, it just, like, I can't do that. I can't. So I'm not saying I would love for every producer show to be 45 minutes to an hour in a perfect world, but like, I just don't got it. I know that. I just know that. Maybe
I thought it was funny.
I would love Justin. Like, maybe Justin will do the next one or something. I'll ask him if he wants to. Maybe he feels maybe he feels like I feel, and he's uncomfortable with it, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But yeah, that's where you're going to get 17 minutes. Unfortunately, if we don't have that much to talk about, because I'm bad at it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was funny that Kirk said that you guys turned into like a network reaction show. It's like Inception of like it all flipped around. It was a dream inside of a dream. Now you're reacting to the network.
Yeah. Well, I feel
like funny point.
It's one thing if every day we brought in a third chair, like if you came in or Montante came in. I think it's like, or Tim and Ken came in too, right? Like we did that dumb little Belichick argument for like, that got us 10 minutes or whatever. I'm not saying we just tried to kill 10 minutes. That was an organic 10 minutes of conversation. Montante, that was organic when he randomly brings up golf or whatever, and it makes the show longer, and it's topics that are outside of the Minifan world. Maybe it makes more sense. I don't necessarily feel like it makes sense if, like, all of a sudden today, Justin and I bang out like, "Did you see Joe Milton got traded?" Like, that would be fucking crazy, as opposed to just keeping it on Minifan related stuff for the most, or at least I think it's crazy. I could be totally wrong, and I know Kirk in the past has said like we overthink that stuff, but it just wouldn't hit me to bring up, like, I don't know, a random story today to talk about with Justin.
Yeah, so on the 26th there, you guys talked about Coleman's return to basketball. That was kind of a nice little thing to see Coleman back on the court.
Yep.
We'll see his tweets.
Always good. I like that Montante. I always like being backed up on my points. You were there in Laconia as well. He absolutely hummed that thing at the backboard. He disguised it a little bit. It was like a gentle hum, but he didn't like just take it and just go boom. He took it and but he definitely knew what he was doing. That backboard had give, and he could make 2 shots pretty easily on that. Once he took like 1 or 2 shots, he realized it quick.
For sure. And you guys talked a little bit about beef. Montante thinks beef, and it seems like a couple of people, even Kirk, thinks beef kind of stinks at golf for a guy who's supposed to be like a scratch golfer.
Yeah, when I've seen it, it hasn't been overly impressive, but I watch a lot of those dumb type of instructional videos on any sport, really, and they're always like, they're not themselves that fantastic, but the advice they give is typically sound, right? Like, so I haven't seen beef say anything that I thought was like absolutely outrageous for somebody who should be good at golf. He does seem to be giving good instruction. Not that I know,
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes, and then when the cameras are on you too, you might not play your best if you're not used to it. Things like that.
Yep.
Then you guys talked quickly about Jeff's little infomercial about the nose thing, which was pretty funny. Does he have gambling debts from NCAA? I think that's what Montante was saying.
Yes.
And I think he might have came on my show that night or the night after, so I think I forgot to ask him about it, though. I don't know if
this is going to come up in your notes, so I apologize if I'm jumping ahead or we rehash or whatever, but I don't want to forget it with Jeff. I saw a tweet, and I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I think it was on yesterday's show with Mutt, maybe, where I was critical of how Kirk sounds when he's doing the remote shows from Chicago. And I think I saw Jeff D. Lowe reply to that, and he was like, Dave was right, because someone was like, Dave threw you under the bus or whatever. First of all, in that specific situation with Jeff producing, at least the last one, I'll just go off the last one, because I think that was the only one since I've been back that's happened. Jeff in no fucking way, shape, or form should have been responsible for audio. Like, to me, Jeff's talent, right? And unless Jeff, like, fully went over it with a producer in Chicago and was like, I 100% got this. You go do whatever you want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Jeff completely cleared the other person, but we didn't talk to Jeff pre-show. We talked to somebody else, and we said exactly what we were hoping to have happen. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that it would then be, oh, let's just, walk out of the room and tell Jeff to hit record and then cross our fingers or some shit. And maybe Jeff can do it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but I'm just saying, like, in no way that day did I think that should be on Jeff, because we had a conversation with other people. And that just seems to be, unfortunately, a trend. And I think I said it on another show. Coleman brought up a good point once, is typically when Kirk's there, there's a lot going on. And so
Yeah.
maybe those producers aren't as focused on anything that's outside of whatever else is going on, or typically in their world every day in Chicago or whatever, but it still sucks shit, to be completely honest. Like, Kirk has a very popular show, and I don't think it's outrageous to ask for clean audio. And if he's going to be there, if he's going to be there, and he's rarely going to communicate with his producers backstage because he has guests, or not backstage, but back in Watertown because he has guests that are there, doesn't really make sense for them to feed it to us and us to record it, because it's dropping down the quality of the content. Just didn't make sense. So
Yeah.
that's why, and it kind of came up this week again. Like, yes, every time Kirk goes, I'll bring it up to Kirk. Like, do you want one of us to go? Because we want to be mindful of that. And even in that, we need hand holding to some extent, because unfortunately, like, we're not there. They use different equipment, and it's not me. Typically, we can kind of figure our way around it. And I think I've heard from Justin that Chicago is better than what, like, I had an experience in New York that really sucked from a video and audio perspective from their equipment. But I don't know. It's like, if we're not there and we don't work there, it's not our equipment. We need a little hand holding too. And so if we're not there, obviously there needs to be more attention paid to it, just in general. Just has to. So I don't know. But I guess my entire point to wrap that in a bow was, I never thought that was Jeff D. Lowe's responsibility that day. So him taking responsibility is taking heat off somebody else, which is a classy move by him. But never in my wildest dreams that I think Jeff was responsible for that.
Well, Jeff seems like a good guy, a stand-up guy. He's always been very good to me, but it is tough when the audio isn't quite up to snuff. When he's in Chicago, I still listen. I'll never not listen, but it does take a little bit away when the audio is not quite there. Or there's just some breakdown in communication. I think maybe Kirk isn't their top priority, so they're not giving them all the necessary resources or really fully being invested like you or Justin would be. But it is what it is. When at the end of the day, for me, it's better than no show, I guess. But I understand where you're coming from.
Right. That's all. And it's we think, like, I don't think that's a crazy request. It's just to make sure, like, they have 15 shows that are going on there that sound great. So it's just, to me, I actually think it should be, you kind of want your studio or your experience. You want people to have a good experience there, So if somebody outside, we don't have that regularly, but who was it? Chicken Fry? Like, Chicken Fry came to Watertown, and I think Justin produced it. I would hope that Justin wanted that to sound great for the other person to have a good experience, or their audience to know that, wherever she is, they took care. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want them to have a bad experience from it. It's capable of quality out there. So there's some other factor at play. That's all.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it's something that always, I guess, you guys will be thinking about, and that you'll be trying to address.
Yep.
So I'll wrap up that March 26th show. I gave you an 80, Justin an 80, both B minuses, and Montante an 84. I thought he was a good third chair. I thought you guys were good. It always seems a little better when there's just one more person in there to bounce ideas off of. Especially, I think Tim was awesome. Montante was great. I thought I was mediocre. I tried to add what I could, but I thought I did, like, okay.
Yeah.
And 80, I gave the show an 82 overall for that Montante one. What do you got that at?
I think that's fair. I would give it I'd probably give it an 84. I think just, I think Montante just overall, like, first of all, he's really good friends with Justin. I like Montante a lot. I consider him a friend. I just think the vibe with Montante is really, like, we technically probably could have gone for longer, I think, but I think we would have ended up doing, like I was talking about, topics that were so far outside KMS or Minifan type stuff, and it just, to me, that gets, I don't know, we're weird about it, or at least I'm weird about it mentally. So yeah, I would say 84, because I just think the kind of camaraderie with that crew. We've obviously known Montante, and experienced him in studio longer than we have with you or Tim there.
Yeah, so then we got a Friday show on the 28th. Both you guys were at home, so I don't think it has quite the same, the chemistry maybe isn't quite there when you're not looking at the person. I thought it was still okay. You guys went over the Pedro recap stuff, which Mutt being Mutt is always funny to me. Mutt being the sporto and kind of playing it up, and all these clips we see of him saying, 300 strikeouts, this and that.
Yep.
I'll always love Mutt for being Mutt.
He's a great MC. I feel like the best part of him from that perspective is like he is that typical guy who can execute that, can do it the right way, is energetic. He's that predictable type of person doing it. But then on the flip side, the majority of those people who do that can then not 24 hours later make fun of the fact that they're capable of doing that or that's what they did. And Mutt can make fun of that stuff. Most of those people, at least the people I've met who are like the MC types or like the DJs at the wedding or whatever, they take it way too seriously and they don't make fun of themselves after. And Mutt at least has a good amount of fun with that stuff.
Yeah, he can take some of the self-deprecation. I think being friends with Kirk, you have to be able to, take a little bit of shit. So,
yep.
You guys talked about buying the new chairs. You guys talked a little bit about the fawn stuff. Where are you at with the fawn stuff?
I haven't consumed a ton of it, but I love the idea of it in terms of like I was talking about having the boxes, like 4 boxes at a time, multiple people are going, they're talking shit to each other while simultaneously. I don't know if I'm assuming they don't talk a lot of like Minifan stuff as they're going, which they don't have to, obviously, if they're on a different network or even if they're on this, they don't have to. But like, I love that almost as a separate thing. Like I would love somebody to do like a video game show or something like that where they're playing the video game and then simultaneously not only are they talking shit to each other about that said video game, but they're also talking about like, Menners said this on MNS and they're kind of I like that idea. I like that it's just different in general. Different is always
the funny thing about that is one of the last DMs that Menners sent to me, he said before he started kind of going at me was that I should do like a Clemmer thing, like I should play a video game and talk about it. So yeah. I don't know if that was like to goat me into doing something or if he was serious, but
that was like in all honesty,
interesting idea.
I felt like, and I can't remember. I know he did like the stupid pressure washer game, but like Gus, in all honesty, gaming with Gus, like he's the perfect guy to do that. He's perfect to be playing some kind of video game, and he's in the bottom corner. And I understand that's hard to penetrate. Like I think from his perspective, he was hoping he like took off on Twitch. I'm saying I don't know how like reasonable of an expectation that is at all, but just a Minifan, like a Minifan network version of that where your expectations are not to go viral on Twitch or whatever other platform it is. But your expectation is, no, I'm just producing content. If people want to watch me play a game while I simultaneously work off the chat, talk shit to people I'm playing with, and talk Minifan related stuff. Like, I think that's a great show idea.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the game with Gus stuff. It was kind of funny. He's sitting there ripped, and he's like virtually mowing a lawn and interacting with the chat. So he's another guy that I thought about getting on here. Obviously, like
be good.
Right around the time that I got Coleman, I was thinking maybe I reach out to Gus.
Yeah.
So he's another guy that I'd like to get if I continue the show. I
was never a gamer. I just hooked up the Xbox actually. I did it for my daughter, and we've been playing NBA like 2K or whatever. And I just wanted her to see. This is Coach Dave now is talking. Coach Dave is those video games when you're playing them, like the computer goes and does the right thing every time. So that's what I said to her. I'm like, if you're trying to learn the rules and you're playing for the right time, start playing the video game and take in where the players are at, how they're playing defense. Oh, you got called for a foul. What happened? Like she's legitimately learning the game through that. So I've been starting to play that a little bit, and I just picked up like NHL again. So I don't know. I might turn into somebody. I don't know if the Fonz thing is going to last long term, but if they'll let me in, I might want in. I might have to get in on a PGA. I might have to figure that back out.
It's entertaining. It's them busting balls. It's talking a little bit of Kirk Minahan stuff here and there. It's a good group of guys that are like messing around. Yeah. So and I've done a little bit of stuff with it too, like announcing it and stuff. It's a cool idea. So
yep.
That was most of the stuff for the Friday one. I guess the other thing was I think that was after the screenshot of the Nurse Kim thing came out, and I do appreciate you guys saying that you would kick Nurse Kim to the curb in an instant just to keep me around. That did help me a lot. That Kim, felt nice.
Granted, I brought her into this world, so I apologize to you. But I didn't bring her in. She came because of it to some side. I can't believe I just said it that way, of course. But she's bought into the show, so that's where I tried to kind of when I texted you personally on it, kind of bring it down a notch, because she like when she gets into something, she's fully into it, and now it's like she's fucking around. If
Yeah.
you're watching streams of like Jake, you're in deep. Like she got in deep quick, and so it's to me
Yeah.
it's not worth taking seriously from my perspective. I'm not gonna ever tell you what to do, but yeah. So that was when we got it, and I am not joking you whatsoever. I got those videos right before Dateline, going in there and like sitting in
Yeah,
my
that was
car.
crazy how you said that's all you could think of. That was
It's
wild to me.
well because like that and I think Kirk described it yesterday too. We knew going into it was going to be like a boring bullshit weird type of day where we're just like walking
Yeah.
around, and so that was like the only thing in my head as people were giving me direction, because that would be fun to do. That if there was a regular KMS episode, like whether you like it or not, Brando, that would have been fun audio to play back probably.
Oh yeah, yeah,
uh,
definitely. Yeah,
so that was just on my brain, and it definitely impact. I would have sucked anyway that day, but I sucked way more because of that. That was where my head was at.
yeah. As soon as I went on Jake's show and kind of went at Menners, I knew it was a clip right away. I said that's the clip right there. Like,
Yeah.
I just gave him the clip. So
Yep.
yeah. So, that was a semi-short one. I think I gave Justin a 76 and you an 80. C plus for that one. C plus 78. Where do you got that show? The virtual one.
Oh, the virtual one, I would say 75. Yeah, I agree with you. Virtual shows are
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, virtual shows are soft, but we wanted to make sure we could do it. I forget why we had to do it virtual, but there was an actual legitimate thing, and I'm forgetting why. But
and then we moved to the 17-minute show. One of the, seems like a long line of controversies. One of the first small controversies of the 17-minute show.
Yeah.
You started off like, I don't know, we got to get you into the hospital. We got to get you under an MRI maybe, because you just come in saying it's Wednesday instead of Monday.
Owner salad. He's right. He's right.
Yeah, but you come in saying it's Wednesday instead of Monday. Justin doesn't correct you. It's
again
a tough look for your brain right now.
My brain is tough. I suck at that shit. I let I let dumb stuff impact me. I don't know why.
We've all been there.
I don't know why, but when we did producer shows, was at the beginning of this break, and I would start the show as if we were already on a conversation. Do you remember this?
I think it would come in like mid-convo or something. You guys would just be talking.
I can't remember if that was during. I don't know why, because we only really do producer shows when the content isn't there. So I forget how that all happened. But I remember taking shit for that after I did it multiple times. And I don't know why, just like doing that as goofy and pathetic as it was and stupid, it just like internally like made me laugh, I think. And it like calmed me down. But I took the shit and I was like, no, I gotta say welcome to the producer show. Today's date. And I don't know why I fucking did that. Because at least, I just think it's hurt my brain going into the shows every time. And I shouldn't be taking any of this that seriously. But yeah, I definitely right there opening the show saying Wednesday. I knew it as soon as I did it, and I was like, I'm not going to address it. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, and then one of the big things was the Lucy Burge tweet, which I thought was very funny, kind of making fun of Mutt, and I was surprised that seems like she is a fan, and judging on the show, the Minifan Network show last night.
Yep.
It sounds like according to Kevin, if he's being serious, that she watches like pretty much every episode.
Yeah, I can't call out Kevin anymore because he proves me wrong every time.
Right. But, that video was insane. It was awesome.
So that it is what it. But I'm sure she's a fan, and I knew she listened sporadically, occasionally. I just knew it, but I didn't know. Like Kevin made it seem like, I don't know. He made it seem like she could be, I don't know, a historian. She could be doing like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. He just elevated her to a level that I'm not positive she's at, but maybe she's there and we just haven't known it.
Yeah, I didn't know that she even really listened, to be honest, because I don't remember a lot of different tweets, kind of like Kirk said. Definitely not when she was with Odyssey, which I don't blame her for, because Kirk he's like Voldemort over there. You can't mention his name.
Right. Especially later, and this isn't a shot at her, so I apologize if she took it this way, but when she was off the producer thing and she's just doing like the video she was doing for BetMGM and hosting those BetQL shows or whatever, like those are to me probably good, easy gigs where she's elevated. It's not worth shaking the trees with a bunch of those fucking petty assholes at Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's just no, from her perspective. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
I didn't know her too well. I only interacted with her a couple times at Intercom, and she was always nice, and she definitely like busts her ass in terms of wanting to, not just now, but even back then producing. She would say yes to everything. And, well, I think somebody's going to make a joke about that, but yeah, yes, like she would just do anything you wanted. She produced multiple shows, and like I said, I think she was a pretty regular presence with Mud at Night, to my knowledge. So that's where I'm sure their relationship comes from.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds right. I remember her popping in and out of different stuff. She was involved briefly in Dennis and Callahan. She was maybe going to become the producer at one point.
Yeah, Dino was a pervert to her. I remember. Yep.
Yeah, I remember them being kind of like, fawning over her and be like, oh, we'd rather have her than some, ogre looking guy or something.
Sausage back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you guys talked about Kirk and his team on the dozen, Team Minahan beating the Booze Ponies, somewhat convincingly. I mean, it got kind of close towards the end with the last couple questions that didn't matter, but he's finally got a couple people on his team that can really help him, and it looks like they look like a runaway train right now.
And just good camaraderie all around, especially the him and Robbie connection, which I didn't necessarily see coming in terms of developing as the way it has. Is it's a great, I don't know, just it seems like overall the team, there's great camaraderie, definitely into it. Like he said, was that today on Unnamed? Like he was as excited about answering or winning. I think it was just answering a question as he's been in a long time, and he showed it. But yeah, either they're just a dominant team. I'm expecting big things, and honestly, I feel like partially it's me returning to the program, getting him back to his winning ways, which is we're going to see it again next week. But I don't believe he won the dozen with any other producer.
That's a fair point.
There's some other competitions where I wasn't there. So it's just good. I think we're getting on the right track here. Just to play like a small part, hopefully.
Yeah, the Dave Cullinane difference, if you will.
Maybe who's to say?
Robbie is perfect because he just fits in with a lot of the 2000 stuff. He's good with the music. He gets the mashup, which they usually have almost no shot. That's some of the hardest ones when I watch them. I can't tell names of celebrities or I can recognize faces and this guy's been in this movie, but
those ones are
the way
hard.
some of these people come up with the inside is this, the outside is that. It's wow. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
I know I don't come off obviously I'm not a movie guy, so I don't come off that way. But from a pop culture standpoint, I know the celebrities, and I know whether it be recent or history, and I would think I would absolutely fucking dominate those face smashes or whatever you call those.
Yeah.
And they get me. I feel like I haven't gotten one in forever. Whoever has been doing those has been doing a phenomenal job.
I get maybe 10% of them, I would say, something like that.
I remember early on, I felt like they were super easy, and maybe it's changed over time, but now it feels like it's gotten harder and harder. So I don't. But Robbie's just absolutely dominant. To me, who was the one who's super? Fran has always been dominant for years with those, and if Robbie doesn't take that crown this year, I'd be shocked because he's dominant with those.
I mean, I think Kevin from Bristol last night on that Minifan show said that they should be doubling Robbie's the face thing because he's never missed, which I think is a little, I don't know if you want to go that far because of Kirk's expertise in movies and golf and stuff like that, but it's an interesting point. So I'm a big Kevin from Bristol guy. I did appreciate that. He sent me a DM before that show, and then I had about a 20-minute conversation with him. He wanted, me to clear everything up and to hear my side of everything, which I appreciated. Yep. I met him in Laconia, super nice guy, obviously legendary Minifan. I'm a big Kevin from Bristol guy, for the record.
Great guy. So hopefully, and he'll another one after the break. I'm assuming he'll be back in studio soon as well. So he was great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So that show was a quick one. I gave it an 80 though. I thought it was okay for what it was, a B-.
Oh,
I gave Justin a C+.
You gave the
17-minute
show an 80?
Yeah, I thought for the content itself was a B minus. What you
Yeah.
talked about.
Again, I
Maybe
mean,
I didn't take away as much for the timing,
yeah. I mean, it was authentic. We didn't have a lot to
but
talk about. You literally saw it on a hot mic.
yeah,
Just
that was awesome. Little clip too.
wild
I
move.
didn't take it as you like being a jerk or anything
No,
either. I
I
took it
didn't.
as like, oh, we ain't got shit to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't mean it that way for sure. I wish we had more to talk about.
We got to
Or
figure out that hot mic thing because
yeah,
someone's gonna say something wild.
well, we changed our. Well, I can go on a rant, not a rant. We changed our video technology completely in there, and so don't even like yesterday. We didn't know Kirk was coming in, and we were prepared for it with the three of us. Like I wasn't going to turn my body the way Kirk did, so we were mentally. But I'm just saying, don't get your vision of what it's going to be like on April 16th through these
Yeah.
things. But even Menners yesterday was saying the voice in the video doesn't match up. He's wrong about that. First of all, that was the video that they had. Whoever screen recorded that had it didn't match up.
It mixed. It
I mean,
got messed up in the mix somehow.
have you watched a KMS show where there was a technical issue, or anytime that stuff happens, there's a million fucking tweets. There's a million comments and tweets about it.
Well, the live chat usually starts blowing up with like,
Blowing
oh, the
up.
audio's fucked up, or like, oh,
Blowing
this
up.
camera like is messed up.
Yeah,
You
it was
usually
like
hear it pretty quick.
As soon as I stopped listening yesterday, as soon as I heard Menners say that, because I was listening, and I went to our video and I was like, that's not. It's whatever he used for screen record or grab, which is fine, by the way. They're just doing a wrap up show. I'm just saying but he was calling that up. But yeah, we have a whole new system in there that hopefully hopefully is going to just be better for video overall in general.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It'd be good to figure that out because I am just nervous. Like I think even with Kirk yesterday, it still had a few more minutes, like a few seconds after.
Yeah,
where it held on.
Where it held. Oh, you mean the hot mic thing after?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I forget what his.
I don't know if it's fixed exactly because there was another like 5 or 10 seconds of Kirk was like just kind of staring.
Yeah, we don't have. I have to figure out the quick way to do that. One of the things that we want to make sure it's pretty much once we get the studio completely finalized with the looks and stuff, that's where we're figuring out how to build what I'm going to call them scenes, right? Every time we end the show in the old ways, we just click this slate where it just put the graphic up and that took all the sound away and everything, right? So we had that, call it a buffer zone, to then get logged off onto the live streams and stuff like that. We haven't necessarily figured that out with our system now. It's a completely different workflow. Like it's a completely different system that we're working with. So I think Justin, it just like he went to go click end broadcast and unfortunately it could get stuck for a few seconds or whatever there. So
it's just a lag on that.
Yeah, it was a lag on YouTube's end. He was telling me, but either way, that's not going to be a problem come April 16th.
So then we get through all that, which all that is that it's okay. The producer show's fine, but then yesterday we get a taste of the real deal.
You can't be a 17-minute show and give a good rating, Brandon.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're a tough grader. That's just that's unacceptable from a Brando show rating. You can't go higher than a 65 right there.
All right.
You just can't. It's a 17-minute show. It was authentic. We had nothing to talk about, and I can't stretch, or can I talk in general? But it's 17 minutes and 17 minutes, so 60.
All right. I'll lower it to a 70. Just you've convinced me. I'll go C minus. I don't go at much less any content. I don't go much less. A C because I think it's. I'm grateful that you guys are putting anything out. So I think I'm kind of a positive grader in that. In that point of view.
Appreciate
it. So then yesterday we get the real deal. We get Kirk. Kirk is back in studio. It was essentially like a KMS show, pretty dang close. We get Mutt as well. Yep. So we get this influx of all this stuff we've been missing. We get Mutt, we get Kirk, and he was in rare form. I think, too, one of the big things is Mutt's hair is grown in nice. I think he said he got it trimmed. I think it's a good look for him. Way better than letting that friggin' chia pet grow out of the top of his head.
Well, not just that. Like he's making in my opinion, he's making the right style decision, which is to not bick it, to not go full Mr. Clean. He's got to make sure that he's keeping it tight up there, but he's making the right decision in terms of that. Not trying to grow it out and not bicking it. He's right there in the middle. It's the right call.
True. And Kirk, so on that show, I got brought up as I have been lately. I've been one of the main topics of the producer show for the last, it seems like week or two.
Yep.
He suggested that I kind of take it easy and don't care about the views as much, and I definitely get what he's saying, and that's something I'm working on. But I'm such a competitive person. I like to compete and like look at those network standings and compete with the other shows. Oh, you got this many views, I got that many views. Like a healthy form, like it's not hating each other, it's just competition. I don't do
So
anything really for fun. I play disc golf competitively. I try to compete at everything. I can't go bowling with my friends without getting mad if
yeah,
they're beating me. I can't play cards with my friends without possibly like
right,
getting
right.
mad that I'm being beat. So I'm just very, very competitive, and I've tried to, back off of it a little. Obviously, I take everything Kirk says to heart
Yep.
because he's my hero. So
Well, I would say, first of all, first and foremost, this is a Menners thing. You're part of the Menners coaching tree. You're part of the network. You're a mainstay on the network. So this is a Menners failure that you view it that way. Because if you were under my coaching tree, I would tell you first and foremost, you're working on a platform that's insanely niche. So to think
mhm.
that your numbers are going to get over a certain threshold where, I understand just wanting to beat somebody and say it. But
Right,
I think you're more pure than you're giving yourself credit for in terms of like you're saying you want the numbers. I don't really think you want the numbers. I think you like talking about the show because you're that passionate about the show, first
yeah,
and foremost. Then you like engaging with the show and with the audience of the show and all the other Minifans. So to me, if you're creating content and you're getting a specific amount of people in the chat, you're talking to them. If you wanted to, you could work off with them, you could engage with them live, whatever. You are doing the right thing for you. Like you're satisfying your goal right there, let alone. I would take it a step further and say, if I do have competitive drive toward it, I want more of that engagement. That engagement isn't enough for me. Not the
yeah.
numbers, but just
I want
engagement.
I want people to watch. I want people to be a part of it and talk and love the show that I love. And I
Right,
love talking to other Minifans about the shit that we like.
right.
And
But take it
that's
off.
part of it.
I would say to you, take it off this platform after you've done it. So you did it. All these people are engaging in the chat. You're getting what you want out of it. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring it over to the timeline on Twitter, where there's even more people engaging about KMS and Minifan related content. I'm not going to rely all the time on whether it be the Minifan Twitter account to tweet out my clips. I'm going to tweet out my clips and I'm going to
Yeah,
start a dialogue on the conversation that I had about whether it be, did I suck on the stream with Mike or whatever. Like I would take it
cheap
off
shot.
YouTube platform and create engagement as much as you can. That to me is the better indicator for you because I think your motives of producing content are pure. And I would want to, wherever I can keep that engagement growing is
Hmm.
where my goal, like that's the goal that I would be attaining for. How do I keep that going versus I like 300 versus 400 versus 500. More
Yeah,
people will come as you keep achieving your engagement goals.
right. I think I definitely agree with that. And I think sometimes people get labeled with the clout chaser or the arm waver. And my thing is, I just want to have fun with the Minifans. Sure, I want people to watch. I want eyeballs on me. I want to be. My goal over the break was to kind of stay relevant. So to me, the views is somewhat relevance, and I wanted to stay on Kirk's radar in the time that he was gone, so that hopefully he would still have me back when he gets
But
back. That was kind of my thinking.
views aren't necessarily relevant. Live views might be relevant, but like
Right,
if 500, however many people subscribe to the network, they all get if they have notifications on, they all get a notification. They might just watch it quick and click. They're not really engaging with you. So what does that like one view matter if they're not partaking in it in the right way? So that's why I would I would shift your mind a little bit to be like how am I keeping the conversation going? That's
right.
first and foremost, that's satisfying you. You're doing this. You're producing the content because you like doing it, and it's satisfying some type of itch you have. So I would keep trying
Yeah,
to satisfy that itch outside of YouTube, basically.
right. And my main goal is to be a part of the greatest podcast on the planet. It's been an honor that I've even been able to be a small part, and I'd just like to continue being a part of it if Kirk will allow me to.
Yep.
So I've always, from the beginning, just tried to be real and have fun with other Minifans. I think that's been the whole point of the Brando show. I haven't really tried to attack people. I haven't really tried to be toxic or be negative. I've just kind of tried to have fun and
Yeah. And I like it.
other
You showed
Minifans.
even with that stuff, like you're saying, with whether it be Jake's stream, like it was authentic. Whether it's rational or not, it was
Mm-hmm.
authentic, which is you, which is good. That's good content. So, yeah.
So, that was the stuff he kind of said about me. Mutt's haircut looked good. Um, what else? We have obviously the big, the big fight, if you want to call it a fight. Kirk just like dismantling Justin, and whether I don't know if it was a bit that he was kind of doing, if he was truly disappointed that Justin wasn't a KMS case first guy, and he was willing to just do the snow cone thing and kind of he pretended like, oh yeah, I'll go, but it wasn't. Kirk didn't feel like he was being real with it. He thought he was just kind of saying it and being like, oh no, you don't need me.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't
don't,
know.
it didn't, at least my personal viewpoint was it never made me think Justin is not a show first guy. Like, Justin is a show first guy. I think it was more the mental gymnastics that sometimes we get in this situation where we almost need to, if we want to be there or we want something to happen, we just have to say it to Kirk, and Kirk has to yes it or no it. It needs to be like when it gets into this open-ended conversation, you start to do this, mental gymnastics in your head, and it gets to this. I think Justin immediately was like, he had the idea Kirk didn't want him to go because we already had it set up that Kirk and I were going to be there, and Justin really wasn't included until literally that conversation of the event itself. Then when it happened, when the conversation happened, I think his brain was just kind of like, no, you guys were right the whole time. Like, you don't need me. Whereas, realistically, you're right. Like, I could film Kirk and I have microphones and I could do it. And that's typically the scenario is there really never needs to be two people. In this situation where there was a lot of unknowns, I thought it was appropriate to ask Kirk, like, do you think it's a good idea to have another body? Because there's just certain situations that we don't know that could occur that another body might be helpful. If we knew exactly the scenario, it might make sense where I don't bring that up at all, right? Like if we were just filming social material for Kirk at the mini golf thing in Chicago, we don't
Yeah,
need to have two people there. It can be one person following. So I might not raise that question. But when I raised it and Kirk showed interest in it or acceptance of that thought, my brain immediately went to like, Justin is always going to be this guy to be like, oh, yeah, sure. Like that was just where
yeah.
my head went.
That's what Justin has been. For
Yeah.
better or for worse, he's been the guy that will do anything for Kirk.
Yeah. But it
I feel
makes
the same way. If I was in Justin's shoes, I would just do essentially anything that Kirk wants me to do and never
right.
expect anything in return because that's just how big of a fan I am
But he said,
of him.
and he said, and we talked about it again today. Kirk, he thought that Kirk and I, or we all had this conversation where we said we didn't need him. I don't remember that. And I trust that he's telling the truth. He doesn't have a reason. That's how he remembers the situation.
Yeah,
We remember it differently. But from my perspective only, I'm just taking the conversation that I thought I had. I thought he would have been a guy to just be like, yep, I'll be there. Instead, it took this approach of, he did say, I'll go, but then there was like the quick but. It was like, I'll go.
that little bit of hesitancy, Kirk
Right.
saw that, and
Yeah.
whether he picked it apart to just kind of to pick Justin apart in that moment, or if it really bothered him, because we know some of these little things can bother him.
Yeah.
Speaking of, he wasn't a big fan of your message that you sent in the case DMs.
Yeah.
That you were in production, I think is what it was, right?
Yeah, I understand the viewpoint. I didn't think in production like was as serious as what he thought. Actually, to be honest with you, like I feel like a douchebag. Fucking, that's what I said. To be completely honest, I don't know what I would have said otherwise. But I just wanted to kind of like acknowledge that person. Thanks for listening, basically, and like
Yeah,
and kind of be like, yeah, we're on it. At the end of the day, though, that's Kirk's product. I say that with everything. Like KMS is Kirk's product. A tweet
yeah.
a tweet went out yesterday. So same day, like a tweet went out from the case account yesterday about something. Like I screenshotted it, sent it to Kirk for approval before I did it. So
That's smart.
but I know, like I know one, that I know that that's probably, it should never come off like I'm speaking for him. So I understood
Definitely
that.
not.
I understood that viewpoint, but on the flip side, I was like basically just trying to acknowledge a fan of the program.
Yes.
So
Your
yeah,
heart was in the right place,
right.
but you have to tiptoe that line very carefully of never speaking for him,
Yeah,
but also wanting to engage with the audience and keep
right,
them engaged. He just
right.
That's one of his pet peeves is anyone speaking for him or saying Kirk this or Kirk that or even it coming off like that just grinds his gears.
Yeah, I'll never not understand that. Like it's his name on Kirk Minihane show. It's his, the case is his podcast. It's his, all of it is a
How
Kirk
hey
Minihane product.
how is my audio still bad? People are saying the audio is off. Am I super quiet?
Oh, I
I've
think you've been
turned
the
it
same.
up.
I think you've been the same the whole time. I think you're good.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it fine? Are you
Yeah.
guys just trolling or is it legit? Is it fine?
I haven't noticed a difference, but
All right.
yeah.
I'm just making
yeah,
sure
to
because I turned it up a little bit.
to wrap that in a bow, I understand it. Let's put it that way. I understand it, and that's what I said. I obviously
Yeah.
accept
It
it.
sounds like you pretty much agree with him.
I do. I probably, yeah. It's a tough thing where you also don't want to bother him on the flip side either. So at the end of the day, I think I'd probably just text him and be like, hey, or have a conversation with him eventually and be like, when fans reach out, what's a generic appropriate response or something like that? Because it's his product.
Maybe it's just no response. I
Well,
think is that where he was at? Like, just let him wait for the case. And you were trying to do. I think your heart was in the right place.
100%, yeah. Or it's no response, and that is what it is. It's not a big deal either way. But.
He doesn't like shit being like given away either. Like when stuff's like a surprise or people don't know what's going on. He does not like when people.
I definitely wouldn't have said that if we didn't talk about case related things on on the shows. If we didn't say anything about exploring new things, like we had led into the fact that we were exploring a new story, basically, whether it be I forget if it was the last weeks of the show or when he came in for a producer show, we mentioned it. So I thought that's where I see like it's okay to mention that we're working on it. It wasn't okay to do it in that realm and in the way I did it. I just mean my brain was saying we've discussed Case season 3 outside of outside of us personally.
And I don't necessarily blame you. You just have to be very careful with that stuff. As you know, you've been in there with him for forever now. So I think the only one other big thing I'd say is how he is super into this Ryder Cup style mini golf thing. He is like he's called Riggs and he's trying to talk shop with Riggs.
Why wouldn't he be?
Pretty funny little bit.
Why wouldn't he be? I mean, mini golf has been a thing for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can't remember because I have a shitty memory, obviously, but if it's been a thing since the show started, but I know since I've been there, like he's always talked about mini golfing with Harry. We obviously did the Tapers thing, which I thought we were even going to go deeper on that. I thought he was going to like travel for it, to be completely honest with you. I thought he was going to legitimately go for that world #1 ranking. So I thought it was so. When Barstool gets into it, he's going to be like completely all in.
It's just what makes him great, and I feel like that's where I'm at. As I treat everything like that as well as like a competition. And if I go play mini golf with my friends, I'm trying to win. Like I'm having a good time, but I want to beat all of them every time. So I've been in similar situations. I took a club at mini golf and I missed a putt and I whacked the club on the ground and I broke the head of the club of the putter off.
Yeah.
And then so when we got to the last hole, I had to hand it to this poor like 18-year-old kid working a summer job. I had to say, "Oh, sorry, here's your club in 2 pieces" because I freaked out. Yeah. And I had the last hole. I had to get down in a crouch and use just the head of the putter. It was.
Oh boy.
It was very funny, but luckily they didn't care because they were just collecting a paycheck and they just said, "All right." And they're just trying to go home. So.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see it. I think it's which one was it? Was it Arizona, where there was like, they put like lobsters on the green, like. So I feel like
I think that was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of like learn their lessons on each one that they do. So I'm looking forward to this one. I didn't love the what do you call it, where they're like trying out to be in it. I'm just blanking on the word, but the puttery stuff. I understand it's, if they're a sponsor, I apologize. But those types of courses, when it's a serious thing, serious, by the way. I mean, it is serious. It's a competition. I thought you don't want to give away what your course is. So I understand you have to do it at a different site. You're not going to build a separate mini golf course for the prelims or whatever you want to call them. So it's tough, but I understand having to do it there. But I don't know. Like if Kirk was in a prelim situation, I'd be like pissed because those are gimmicky places where the hole's just like it's not real. It's just not real mini golf in that way.
All right. So that's, I think, the majority of what was talked about by Kirk. It was great to see him back on. It gave us a glimpse into what we've been missing and a taste. We got 2 weeks left. I think we should survive. I hope we'll survive until we get him back. I gave that show a 96. Obviously, it's going to be the best producer show possible with Kirk in there. He was in one other time just briefly, but it wasn't anything like that. Yep. I gave Justin a C-, a 70, just because I thought he did show a little bit of that. Like, he's maybe not a show first guy, or he didn't jump right up to do anything that Kirk wanted. I gave you a B-, an 80. I thought you had a pretty decent performance. I gave Kirk a 100, an A+, and I wrote, I miss you in parentheses. And then Mutt, I gave an 88, a B+. I thought it was good Mutt, too. Yep, I thought it was very good Mutt.
Great Mutt yesterday. Give it 100 for a show for sure. And Justin sticking to his guns and giving his opinion, and that's how he felt. So credit to him for sure.
What do you give that? Yeah, and what do you give the show? Did you say what you give the show?
I give a show. That's like, to me, like we were talking about earlier, the fact that A, he just shows up. That's first and foremost during a break. B, he shows up with, ideally in a situation like that, you would expect just to air out those 2 grievances. And then 4, he airs out the two grievances, and then makes a phone call to Dan Shaughnessy that if Dan Shaughnessy wasn't a pussy, could have been like a show history type of moment.
Yeah,
I think that could have happened there, and then just taking it to talk about all those other topics he talked about. There's nothing like it.
There truly is nothing like it. And with that being said, I've kept you for, over an hour, so I won't take up any more of your time. Is there any final, statements for the fans out there?
I don't think so.
For me, maybe something for me or the fans?
Yeah.
Anything in closing?
I don't think so. Studio still, progress is being made. So I hope, Mutt actually, before Kirk got in there and was pissed about a couple things, Mutt was giving some complimentary, some complimentary words pre-show. And that it made us both feel pretty nice leading into the producer show. I know that. But yeah, it seems like right now the fact that he came in there was good timing. From I think like kind of the fan perspective 2 weeks before. But yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything, Brando. I hope I hope you don't go away. I like the Brando show. But maybe just find a way, like find that happy marriage.
Yeah.
I hope Menners gets I hope he reaches out to you and you figure this thing out.
I'll tell you, by the end of this show and thinking about it as we've been going, I just don't really want it to end. I enjoy doing it, so I would say I'm leaning towards continuing it, because it's a lot of fun. It's great to have people on and talk about the best podcasts on the planet.
Yeah, definitely.
And just thanks for your time.
Oh,
so I'll let you go. Hopefully, I see you on the other side sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave. All right, everybody. I used a lot of Dave's time. He was great. I appreciate him. I just want to say, too, as far as BA goes, I forgive you for bailing on me the other day. I apologize if you felt like I slighted you and bumped you for Blind Mike. Blind Mike could only do Monday, and I was trying to make both work. It wasn't about someone being better or worse. I wanted to give out more content, and I wanted to have you and Blind Mike on. I'm a BA guy. I just want that to be known. I got no hard feelings with BA, and I hope that he has no hard feelings with me as far as if he feels like he was bumped. So, Kane, are you still there? All right.